We just people from the north side. Once and Timmy's at the shore fine. Winter ready on the four ties. Heavy traffic during 4-5. Gotta hustle on your own time. Color people every port side. We just people from the north side.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Straight Talk Wrestling, and I am 1/3 of your commentary team for HWE, and I am sitting down with the former owner of HWE, the heart and soul of HWE, some might say. Some members of the commentary team might disagree with me, but regardless of the fact, help me welcome Ronchee Ronnie Randelson to Straight Talk Wrestling. How are you, Ronchee?
Not too bad. How are you?
Good. A lot of things transpired. First off, we're back. That's huge. We were pretty much a year apart from our last show because Aaron Stevens was trying to take this entire organization stateside, as we learned at our last show only a few weeks ago, Face Off. Now, I have to tap into the history. Some people may not know. You were, at one point in time, the co-owner of HWE, along with your former tag team partner and close personal friend. Yeah. Then, things changed. People changed. And before you knew it, governance was born, where your former tag team partner being the face, the head of governance, only for us to find out literally a year ago, and then at our last show, it was Aaron Stevens the entire time. So the first question I have to ask you, and this, again, may be uncomfortable, but I have to ask you, based on journalistic integrity, your thoughts on everything that's transpired over the last 24 months.
Oh, man. I don't even know how to explain this. Like, it's been hell. Ever since my former tag team partner turned on me, and yeah, since then, everything's gone downhill for me. The only thing that's happened that's been good was the last show when I defeated Chris Adonis.
It was a surprise to a lot of people, even myself. I did the prediction show based off Aaron Stevens' request, and I went with the facts, went with the figures, went with the numbers. I'm a statistics man. You going up against Chris Adonis, looking at Chris Adonis' career, the amount of wins he's racked up, and yourself, you're a warrior, you are. But picking up W's has been few and far between ever since governance came into the fold. So knowing that, and really only that, I went with the safe bet, which was Chris Adonis. Now, not to say you surprised, but definitely it was a shock that you were able to pull one over on Chris Adonis. Therefore, at our next show in January, you are back in the driver's seat. You are back in control of HWE for one night. And what we understand, we've already booked a few mega matches. We've got you, Aaron Stevens, in a steel cage for the television title with Santino Marella as the special guest referee/enforcer. And then on top of that, we have Empire and Airstrike. One more time. The 20th time these two teams will face in their illustrious careers for those tag titles. Already two bangers out the gate, and that's just during the show. I have to ask you now, what's the plan? What's the strategy? I'm not asking for you to give it away, but I have to ask, what moves do you plan to make come January that will shock our fans, surprise our fans, and potentially change the course of where we've been going?
Well, right now I got a few ideas, but this is a shock to me because my whole thought of going into Face Off, I knew my odds against Chris Adonis. I knew my chance. Out of 20 matches, I'd be lucky if I win one. So I already knew that. So my whole thought behind this was, if I can't beat him, what's the point? So that's why I came up with that deal. Worked out to my favor. I got that one chance. And what I really want right now is me against Aaron Stevens. He's been tormenting me for the past few years, and I need to get something on him. So that's why I decided steel cage match, because he's always running away from me. He's always getting in there somehow when I'm not looking, and now see what happens one-on-one. And the same thing with Empire and Airstrike. Empire and that little punk Kensington always getting in there somehow and ruining it for Airstrike. So now I think a cage match for them too, because nobody can interrupt. They're going to be in there, and it's going to be a fair match.
Can nobody interrupt, though? We know from the history of pro wrestling and steel cages, people find a way of getting in. Now, the whole point of a steel cage is essentially to keep two people locked in that cage, yes, which is the perfect storm for you and Aaron Stevens. Like you said, he's always running away. In a steel cage, there's not really many places he can run. There's a few, but regardless, they're only about 4 feet away from one another. But then you look at the potential of governance getting involved somehow. You look at the potential of Kensington, the Doctor. You know, you look at the potential of Chris Adonis as well being somewhat a catalyst in that match. So before I get into all that, though, I do have to ask one thing. You put your career on the line the last show. That was your one opportunity. You said luckily it worked in your favor. Have you thought about what would have happened if it didn't work in your favor?
HWE would have went down the shit.
It would have went to the States.
It would have went down to the shit.
Pretty much, yes.
So, like I said, it worked out to my favor that show. I'm grateful for it because I do not want to retire. Not just yet. I still have unfinished business with a few guys over here.
Absolutely. And now going into the form of the steel cage with all those factors playing in, that any member of governance could get involved, but you will be able to keep Aaron Stevens in that cage with you. And of course, if governance does get involved, we have Santino Marella there as the special guest and faeture / referee.
And I just didn't even know that until...
Again, shocker. Everybody was shocked.
2 days ago, I was just looking over the footage and I saw that he's a special guest referee and it's for the television title. So, big match.
Very big match. You get a chance to bring one of the titles back to its rightful place on the HWE roster, not on the governance side of the roster. And you also get a chance to potentially put Aaron Stevens away. Now, this is obviously the first step in probably multiple face-offs that you two may have in terms of battling for control of this company. Our fans wonder, us in the commentary team wonder, what's the next step here? You beat Aaron Stevens in a cage, okay, great. You get the television title, okay, great. But how does Ronchee Ronnie plan to get HWE back?
Well, when I listened to that face-off between Anthony and Aaron, part of the deal was if I win, I get HWE back.
I asked that question because anyone can make a deal. Anyone could sign a contract, but there are always loopholes. Legal language is very specific, and there's always loopholes. So I ask again, regardless of a contract being signed, regardless of the fact that you may get HWE back on paper, how do you get HWE back? And I think you know what I mean. How do you get the heart and soul of HWE that's been ripped from you?
Take out governance.
One by one.
One by one. Adonis is already gone. Aaron's next. Kensington, I'll take care of him too. Give him some time. And the Doctor, he won't be here much longer.
Do we know if there were ever any inning workings? I mean, 24 months, 2 shows in between, everything going down, so much information packed in these shows, so many surprises, so many heartbreaks, so much defiance. How do you not know who is in that roster, in that locker room that you can trust? Who can Ronchee Ronnie trust, not knowing that governance hasn't already been in their ear? Hey, I can give you this. I can do that. I mean, do you know if you could trust me?
Well, I've known you for a long time, so I hope I could trust you. But if not, then there'll be problems with us too. Trust the people back there. The problem with this is I've been out of the loop for a whole year. I did not know anything. All I knew was my match was booked with Chris Adonis. That's all I know. Now I have a little more say because I get to book the rest of the show in January. So from there, I have a few ideas. I have one that's kind of really, I'm torn. And I'll announce it right now.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, breaking news here in a special sit-down with Ronchee Ronnie. Go ahead, Ron.
So 2 close friends of mine in HWE that I could trust, Tyler Turva and Johnny DeLuca.
Okay.
Now, Johnny DeLuca, he's been screwed over just as much as me. He was the number 1 contender, was taken away from him. And then at the last event, he went up against John Gonzalez, and he was screwed over in that match. Then at this show in Face Off, up against Fuerza, he had it. Tyler Turva came out to cheer him on as a friend, but it backfired. Johnny's not happy about it. He has a lot of respect for Turva, but he needs his opportunity as the number 1 contender. He had it, was taken away, and I feel he deserves it. So in January, Johnny will be going for the heavyweight title against Tyler Turva.
Wow, that is big news. You are pitting friendships, brotherhoods on the line, all in a shot at the World Championship. I mean, you could potentially be putting two of your allies firmly turning against you after that match is done. Are you prepared for those consequences?
Got to be prepared for it, yes. But the reason for this is it's not about friendships. It's about who's deserving. Tyler Turva has been a great champion. He's literally 3 years now. He's been the HWE champion, and he's been destroying everybody. Johnny has proved himself time and time again. And he's been screwed over, and I think he deserves it. So if I'm going to get a little backlash from these guys, there's nothing I could do about it. I think it's whoever's deserving of it gets the chance.
Wow. Big words from the man who is now firmly in the driver's seat for our next show in January. Ronch, I got to ask you, when it comes to the show, when it comes to booking the show, you get a chance to name the show. You get a chance to come up with the, I shouldn't say concept, but come up in something that you put your name behind. Got any ideas?
I do have an idea, and I am thinking it will be called Locked Down.
Oh, it's an appropriate title. It's an appropriate title. Could we be safe to say that there might even be one more steel cage match added before the card is announced?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure?
I'm not sure. I'm taking this seriously. Like I said, it's not about friendship. It's about who's deserving. So all the matches that I pick, it's going to be well deserved for these people that are going to be going in.
HWE roster, you are now firmly on notice. We have 3 matches announced. Aaron Stevens versus Ronchee Ronnie for the television title in a steel cage. Also, with potential HWE management on the line, as well as we have Empire and Airstrike going in a steel cage for the tag titles one more time. And just announced, Johnny DeLuca, the new #1 contender, will go one-on-one with our current reigning defending world champion, Tyler Turva. You can't write this kind of stuff. 3 matches in, the card is already stellar. More matches to come. Tickets are going to be on sale soon, if I understand it.
Yes.
So, ladies and gentlemen, get your tickets. It's going to be a hot night in Mississauga. Even though it's going to be cold outside in the Don Koloff Arena, HWE is about to set the world on fire, and you don't want to miss it. You don't want to wait for the playback. You don't want to wait for the replay. You want to be in the building that night in January. As always, I'm your host, your boy, George Mackay of Straight Talk Wrestling. This has been my one-on-one sit-down with Ronchee Ronnie Randelson, my good friend, and someone that I can tell you right now here in front of all of my fans, you can trust me. My lines have been where my lines have been from day one, which is I am HWE. I don't care who's at the helm, but I am HWE, and that's where I reside. So you can know George Mackay, he's HWE through and through.
Thank you, brother.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this one. Peace, love, and wrestling. We shall see you in January.
We just people from the north side. Once the Timmy's hit the shore fine. Winter ready on the full ties. Heavy traffic during 4-5. Gotta hustle on the own time. Color people every port side. We just people from the north side.